Good evening and half a day. Welcome to the KGTF PBS studios right here in Mangilao, Guam. We're hosting the second night of student input opportunities here for the Imagine Guam initiative. This initiative is part of the governor's effort to reach out to the community to help vision and plan for a future Guam. My name is Ron McNinch and I'm your host and moderator tonight. I want to thank the governor, Governor Eddie Calvo, for inviting us to participate in this opportunity, and along with Dr. John Rivera, who also is with me at the University of Guam, and he'll be moderating tomorrow night. It's a great opportunity to participate in these forums, and we would love for the public to also participate and call in and give us your questions. Imagine Guam is an exciting program that we are reaching out to the community to get community opinions. Basically, everyone's invited. Everyone's invited to discuss and debate and help to plan Guam for the next 50 years. It's an enormous undertaking and responsibility, and it requires us to examine our values to help us to be able to push toward the future. So that's what we're doing tonight. This is our second night. The community comes together and we talk about very important issues. We have a wonderful group of high school students with us here tonight to help us really speak about these subjects. And I'll tell you, last night's group was wonderful, and tonight's group is also going to be wonderful, and we're going to have a lot of neat opinions. So we're going to be hearing all kinds of opinions tonight, and tonight our special topic is on the subject of progress. I'd like to invite our students on tonight's panel to introduce themselves. And I'd like for them to tell the viewers their name, the school they're representing, their parents, and basically a shout out that they'd like to give to anyone out there in TV land. So this time, let's start off with Jada.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jada Gutierrez. My parents are Joseph and Nicole Gutierrez. I am representing St. Paul Christian School.
Shout out.
And I just want to shout out to my family.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Dave?
Hello, good evening. My name is Dave Taitino. I am from Simon Sanchez High School. My parents are Dave and Alicia Taitino. I'd like to give a shout out to my mom who just got out of the hospital.
Oh, very good. Claire?
Hafa, my name is Claire Pollard. I am from the Academy of Our Lady of Guam. I'd like to give a shout out to my parents and my family. And my parents are Pat and Emma Pollard.
Very good. Emmy?
Hi, my name is Emelisa Malata. I represent Southern High School. My mom is Esther Malata. And shout out to my grandma, Ninenega Pagu.
Oh, very good. Glenn?
Hafade, my name is Glenn Cruz. I'm representing George Washington High. My mother is Melinda Kitchchut, and shout out to all the Gumans.
Very good. And now, to my right, we have Abigail.
Hi, my name is Abigail Suarez. I'm representing Simon Sanchez High School. My parents are Menchu and Arthur Suarez. I want to shout out my class of 2016, all our sponsors that made our 5K recently a very great success, as well as my family and my friends. Woo, go Sharks!
All right. And Noah.
Hi, my name is Noah Sablon, and I'm representing St. John's School. My parents are Mike and Teresa Sablon. I want to give a shout out to my mom. She's coming in from Hawaii right now. Have a safe flight.
Very good. Shelby?
Hafade, my name is Shelby Respicio. I am the daughter of Robert and Sonia Respicio, and I am representing St. Paul Christian School. I would like to give a shout out to my family and also to my school.
Very good. And Tassi?
My name is Tassi Cruz. I'd like to give a shout out to my high school, Donna Kennedy. My mom is Tessie Cruz. Shout out to Fuji.
Very good. Thank you very much, students. Everyone, let's give the students a hand on that. Absolutely. Okay. Before we start tonight's questions, there's a couple of general questions I want to ask. And the first general question I want to ask each of the students, just to start the conversation rolling, is can you please tell us, what do you love about Guam? And let's start perhaps with Abigail.
What I love about Guam, one of the greatest aspects I believe on island is basically the people, the camaraderie that people have together, as well as the togetherness and the help that everyone gives to one another, especially at the family households. And the weather and beaches. It's really nice, very great atmosphere to be with, and yes, that is what I love about Guam.
Very good. Noah?
Well, I really love the people too, and I admire how everybody seeks to keep the island clean and how we treasure our island. So that's what I love about Guam.
Very good. Shelby?
The question is more what we don't love about Guam, because everything on Guam is just amazing. And like they both said, the general hospitality that the people on Guam have is something that you can't find anywhere else. I think that's it.
Very good. Tasi?
What I love about Guam is the culture and the history of the background of Guam and the food.
Very good. And let's start on the other end. Glenn?
Well, what I love about my island is, like everyone said, the respect, the culture, everything we learned growing up, our beliefs, our customs, everything that matters is what I really like about Guam. And of course, the beautiful beaches and the beautiful people.
Very good. And Emmy?
What I love about Guam is the people, of course, and just the value of family. Everyone's just so strong with their family. I just love it.
Oh, very good. Claire?
Well, I love the people, the culture, the environment, and I just feel like Guam has so much to offer, and I feel incredibly blessed to live here.
Very good. Dave?
Just like everyone, I love the people, I love the food, the beaches. It's a really beautiful island, and what I also like about it is how it's just very out there, and it's just very out there.
Okay, very good. Jada?
I also love the people, and I also really like how our island, we try and preserve our culture and our history as much as possible.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, students, so much. You know, one of the things that we're talking about in the Imagine Guam is the future. And the future, really, because it's in the future, it involves change. And so change is inevitable. You can't avoid it, right? And I think we all agree on that. And I'll tell you, in 50 years from now, certainly things will change on Guam, and you guys will be around here for that. I more than likely won't be around for that, certainly. But I have a general question for you. If you could change one thing about Guam, if you could change one thing, what would that one thing be? And maybe we can start with Jada this time.
Okay. The one thing I think I would change about Guam would be that more people on our island would speak our native language.
Very good. Dave?
The one thing I would change, it would also be the language, and then people would go back to how things were and be strong and not ashamed of what their culture is.
Okay, good. Claire?
One thing that I would change about Guam is that to inform people to become more environmentally aware and to take care of our environment.
Very good. Emmy?
One thing that I could change, I noticed that a lot of the teens, they're Mangilao to learn the language. I wish they could want to learn it as much as I do. I'm so eager. And my rotes. And I get my rotes.
Very good. Glenn?
Maybe not change, but I would like to help improve our island and everything that we're learning. So I wouldn't say change, I'd say improve.
Very good. Thank you. And let's start on the other side with Tasi. Tasi?
I would like to improve the culture, or not the culture, but expand more on the language, make everyone more open to who you are and what you believe as a Chamorro, as a Guamanian.
Very good. Shelby?
I would like to change the way our younger generation sees the island, because what we don't understand is that the economy will only succeed towards the way we build it. So if we tend to focus on the new things that the world offers us, and we forget to preserve our island's culture, then it won't be good.
Okay, very good. Noah?
Well, I wouldn't change a thing about Guam, but I really wish I could change how people see Guam, and I really think we have the potential to be really good role models for the rest of the world.
Wow, so maybe the rest of the world needs to change and Guam doesn't need to change so much. That's an interesting, no, it's a great view. And Abigail?
Okay, what I would change, maybe not change, but convert. Although the people here are very there are people you'd like to meet, that you really want to meet here on Guam. However, there are a handpick of people who, based on what they do and their morals, so I guess convert people into what the choices they make, so that they're more so, as what everyone else said, environmentally friendly, more so wanting to preserve the culture, more so wanting to embrace who they are, and how Shelby said, when you go off abroad. However, if we do preserve our culture and change our perspective on life and how we see others, to have more respect, to give respect to our elders and be how it was before, we are a projection of who our parents are and where we came from, and where we come from is Guam. So wherever we go, we should always be mindful. So maybe not more so change, but convert, especially our generation of our age, because it's difficult to want to change people, because change begins with yourself.
Very good. Thank you so much, Abigail. All right, so now we're going to continue on. And any other comments about the what would you change question? Okay, very good. All right, so we're going to continue on, and let's get started with some of our questions tonight. Basically, Guam is very different. I know it's hard for some people to imagine, but there's northern Guam and southern Guam and middle Guam. And so each of Guam's areas, north, middle, and south, has a uniqueness to it. How can each of these areas support our economy in different sorts of ways in the future? That is, how can the uniqueness of the north or the uniqueness of the south better contribute to the economy in the future? So let's start maybe with Glenn on this question.
Well, for me, I think down south. So the south has the scenery, and they have all this beautiful land, all this untouched land. And we use the north, Tumuning. We use that for our advertisements. But what if we use the untouched land for our advertisements and for our tourism? What if we started more stuff down there? I think that would be a good touch to the island.
Very good. Emmy?
I feel there are like a few ways that the economy can grow. Like how they have the mango festivals and the coconut festivals and the crab festivals and the papaya festivals and all those festivals. That gives locals the chance to be entrepreneurs, and they sell their goods, from buying Carabao to buying papaya. And, but another thing that I wanted to say was, like, tourism. It's a big part of our island, super, super huge. And, it starts with the people. For me, it starts with the people, because we have all this beautiful scenery, but it, wouldn't be anything that it is now without the people. And to me, when they have the hotels and, your performances, only 1 out of 25 dinner shows, can you believe 1 out of 25, have like a full week of tomorrow shows, and the rest are Polynesian. We have to settle for being Polynesian when we're Micronesian and we live in Guam, or a little island. And I don't know. I think the visitors that are like coming to Guam should experience how we are as Chamorros.
Very good. Well, thank you. Claire?
I feel that the district should all work together to kind of support whether it's the north or the south, what each of them are inputting into society, and to share it with those who come on Guam and see the culture here.
Very good. Dave?
I would say we would start with the south and just show that, because the people who do come visit Guam, they go straight to the Tuman, they go to the hotels, they see all that fancy stuff where you can see everywhere else. But why not start down south, like where he said that there's a lot of untouched land, and we could just show them the ways of how our people were before, and just basically show off our culture.
Very good. And Jada?
I think that a lot of people go to Tumon as a place a lot of tourists go to Tumon to see different parts of a lot of people go to Tumon to shop, and they see that as our place of tourism. But in the central, Guam is actually building its first museum, and I think that is a good way to attract people of our younger generation to be more aware of our values and our culture and our history.
Very good. Thank you. Abigail?
Okay, so I think that on behalf of what everyone else said, that working together and especially, I guess, preserving the culture, there's so many beautiful places to visit on island. However, if our generation, which is the younger generation, doesn't take pride or have respect in our culture and our island, I mean, I'm not Chamorro, but I do indulge in my Chamorro class. Shout out to Sinot Matao. He really brings back the ancient Chamorro words and really opens my eyes to how precious the Chamorro language is. Like I said, I'm not Chamorro, but I take so much pride and respect in what the Chamorros do, from the indigenous to day of. However, my other classmates who are, per se, of this culture do not have as much pride as I do. So as I mentioned in the beginning, the perspective and the morals that our peers have, it really begins with oneself, because we can show tourists as much as we want. We can bring them to the north, bring them to the south, but if their mindset isn't as to appreciate life and to appreciate Guam, to appreciate the little things that we have and appreciate the simple things, like how the Chamorros did when they were here, the indigenous people, it would be of no use to do any improvements if our own people, our peers, which are the future, do not respect it or have pride now.
Very good. Thank you. Noah?
I think currently Guam is doing really well with their resources, and you see the South, like Dave and Emmy were mentioning, the South has an abundance of crops and all kinds of fruits and stuff. They have such good land down there so they can farm, and the South is being used really well, but I think we forget that the South is beautiful too, and I don't think central Guam, like Tuman, it's not a good representation of Guam as a whole. I mean, you don't go to an apple orchard and you don't go to an apple tree and you pick one apple and you say, okay, this apple's bad, that whole tree has bad apples. I mean, there's good apples on that tree too. You don't go to another tree and say, okay, this one apple from that tree is brown. All those apples on that tree are brown. So, I mean, Tuman shouldn't be a representation of Guam as a whole. I think tourism can start up anywhere on Guam, but I don't know if that might not be a good thing. We can talk about that. Is it a good thing to have tourism industries everywhere on Guam, or do we want to keep the island really fresh and new? I don't know. We can use our island in so many ways. It's hard to talk about this.
Okay, good. Shelby?
As Abigail said, our culture is a big part of our economy. So I believe that there are things we could do from a home front perspective, such as farming, fisheries, and cultural aspects. I think the north could be used for like fish ponds, while the south can be used for farming because of its soil, and the central part could be used to showcase Guam.
Very good. Thank you. Tasi?
I think going back to what he said about how everyone is going to the north and not so much in the south should be more of the tourism, because that's where everything started. Everything really deep down from the roots, you can find everything from there. There's so many deep people that perpetuate culture. They talk about it like in a whole different way. You'd see someone talk about being Chamorro and our culture. So I really agree with these people about how going down to the south is a better way of tourism. It should be another way of tourism, I think.
Okay, thank you very much, students, and thank you for your answers. Speaking of the South in particular for tourism, we have a caller question. The caller question is, do you support the construction of a 5-star hotel in Agate? Okay, and I think that, and of course, Agate is certainly to the south of Adelup. It's kind of in the middle south, kind of, and so let's hear some opinions of that. Let's see here. Let's start with Noah.
Well, I did mention that the South is beautiful, but do we want to occupy the South with hotels and tourism like we have Tuman? Should we just isolate Tuman, quarantine it, or should we? I don't know. That's the question. Do we want to progress in our tourism industry and throw hotels wherever we can, wherever we find a beautiful beach, say, oh, that beach has blue water, let's throw a hotel there? Like, do we want to do that, or do we want to keep our island true? And is there a way to keep our island true and not litter it with so many hotels, all while not building hotels down there. So can we show tourists the south of Guam without having to build hotels there?
Okay. Shelby?
Like he said, putting a hotel in a place that we're so not fond of having one can kind of change the perspective of people towards that area. And like he said, is that what we really want? And if we can find a way to put a hotel there while also keeping the cultural standpoint of that place the same, then it would be a good idea. Something different.
Okay, thank you. Tasi?
I don't know. I kind of I don't really like the idea, or I could say, because you know how we don't want the South to look like Tumon. We want it to still be the South, right? So I suggest not maybe a 5-star hotel or even a hotel, maybe more like in a museum down there for just Agat, for just something to represent that village, because we don't want it to look like Tumon because we already have a Tumon. You don't want another Tumon down south. So I think that, I don't think I agree with that question.
Okay, very good. Abigail?
On behalf of what they said as well, it's pretty strange to think of that idea of having another hotel because there are so many hotels, and just having it down there would definitely disappoint a lot of people, because there are people on island that we don't even know about who are trying so hard to preserve the culture. For example, our elders. I mean, I don't have elders who are Chamorro, but I know there are people out there who are trying so hard to get their grandkids involved with their culture, to have more pride in the Chamorro culture, because one day it's gonna go to waste if we keep up doing what we do. One day if we do have hotels down there, we'll end up having another one, then we're gonna end up becoming New York or something. So, I'd say no.
Okay, thank you. Jada?
I guess there's different perspectives on it. Having a hotel down there can take away from its land and beauty, but it also could attract people to go and see those landmarks. So it really depends on how you see it.
Very good. Dave?
Like what Claire said, having a hotel down there would be Jada would be like the start to bring people down there to see how beautiful Agat is and everything down south. But at the same time, it would pull away. People most likely will not go there to see the beautiful sceneries and everything. They're probably just gonna go to eat, sleep, and whatever they're doing for vacation.
Okay, very good. Claire?
I don't necessarily support having a hotel down in Agat, because Agat's kind of a small small village, and it's not really used as like a tourism spot. It's more of Tumon, and Tumon has like an abundance of hotels up there. So I think that in terms of tourism, if we want more people to come down south, there are other things like they said, the scenery and whatnot.
Very good. Emmy?
I'm from Agat, by the way. But like coming from the side where you're trying to promote and perpetuate and promote the culture, I really do think, maybe it's not a good idea, maybe it is a good idea, but I really do think the economy and the way we live now, as modern day Chamorros, and if we just really push to keep our culture alive, maybe it's not such a bad thing, and maybe it is a bad thing, but we're just gonna have to see, because we don't make those decisions. But I do think that we can all put it together somehow.
Very good. Glenn?
Well, okay, so we do have a Tumon already. Why would no diss to the question or to the support of the hotel? There, like they said, there's two perspectives. You're looking at for the tourism, but you're also looking at your culture, your roots. You're gonna take your land away for something that you have an abundance of, like they said. Why do we have to build down south when we have up north, right? So I think that we should keep our land the way it is down there, because if we didn't have those hotels up in Tumon, would people just look at Guam for a place to rent a hotel and just relax? What if we had our untouched land up north still? How would it be then? How would our tourism look?
Very good. All right, so moving on to our next caller question, I want to take a quick vote among the panel here, okay? So raise your hands on the panel if any of you in high school have studied agriculture. Any of you study agriculture in high school? Okay. Second question, how many of you have studied aquaculture or the growing of fish or fish-related things in high school? Anyone? Okay, let me ask you this question. How many of you would be interested in studying agriculture in high school? Okay. All right. And how many of you would be interested in aquaculture, the fish growing process? Okay. Yeah, because the question is why aren't kids more interested in agriculture or aquaculture? I think part of it is maybe there's no opportunities for agriculture or aquaculture. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit. What do you think of studying or learning about agriculture and aquaculture? Is it something that you might be interested in, or is it a topic that you think that you'd have an interest in, at least from a hobby standpoint? And by the way, I'm a strong proponent of everyone studying agriculture. Myself, but that's my own opinion. Let's start right here with maybe Claire. Claire, tell us what you think.
Well, I think that we should study it in school because, I mean, we live on an island and agriculture is like a huge thing here on island. And I would be interested in learning about it because I feel like it would really help us, the youth, like take care more of the environment. And so, yeah. Very
good. And for the rest of you, we'll just give maybe a 15-second answer, okay? Emmy?
Okay. I'd be interested to learn in agriculture in school. I mean, it's an opportunity to learn something new, and I go to school down south, so even better. But I'm pretty sure they have a greenhouse at my school, and yeah, we have a greenhouse at my school. So we're learning a little bit of it, guys. It's something.
Glenn?
I think not a lot of our peers study it because it's not a cool thing, again. But I think it's something we should learn, and you don't always have to learn it in school. You can also study it with your family or outside of the community.
Okay, Dave?
I do believe that people should study agriculture because it's not only benefiting themselves because they live on an island, but then it will benefit our island whenever we need help with anything.
Very good. Jada?
I think that our peers should maybe try and be interested in agriculture and aquaculture because we do live on an island and land plays a big role in our economy.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a quick break. I'm going to say something really quickly. If you want to study agriculture and aquaculture, come to the University of Guam. We have great, neat programs in both of those, and you can take it as part of your general education, okay? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to watch a wonderful video from GITA, the Guam Economic Development Authority. I'm sorry. We're going to see a number of videos on the Pacific Festival of the Pacific Arts and the Guam Airport. We're going to take a good look at them. So we're going to go into a quick break right now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Over the next few years, the economy of Guam will grow more than it ever has. The visitor industry will nearly double in size, and our ports are being enhanced and modernized for greater capacity. The improvements to our power and water supply will bring lower utility costs. U.S. military expansion will bring construction projects and federal jobs long-term. During this period of growth, the government will continue to work with partners from the private sector to promote Guam's unique culture, protect the environment, and improve the quality of life for everyone.
Guam tourism is at the front edge of a paradigm shift. We're about to make the transition from the last 50 years, turn the corner, and propel ourselves forward to levels that we have never seen before. It is exactly the perfect time to invest in Guam and to be in Guam right now.
whether it's setting benchmarks for a growing economy, where it's an economy that is homegrown, and whether it's institutionalizing best practices in financial management. That was what I would call success.
We are on a roll with our capital improvement projects. Over the past couple of years, we have secured tens of millions of dollars in funds for our capital improvement projects, which include our expanded runway. We've also completed the installation of navigational aids to support both expanded runways. We brought a third fuel tank online, which increases our capacity to over 1 million gallons of jet fuel for our carriers. And soon we'll see a new state-of-the-art baggage handling system, which increases screening capacity and efficiency.
Many call it the Olympics of cultural events. Others have said it's the United Nations gathering of Pacific Islands. Some say it's the greatest assembly of culture, heritage, and the human spirit. The Festival of Pacific Arts has been bringing artists and cultural performers together from around the Pacific region since 1972. FestPac is the perpetuation of culture and traditions through the sharing and exchanging of practices and performances, from arts and crafts to dance and song to cuisine and dress. It's the celebration of what we all have in common and what makes us unique. Guam will be hosting the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts, bringing 27 Pacific Island nations together, placing our island at the center of this incredible event. Be a part of the largest cultural festival in Guam's history. Dinanyas Unidos Siha Gita Pacifico. Let's make history, let's tell our story.
Welcome back. We are here over at the KGTF studios in the wonderful village of Mangilao. This is a part of the public broadcasting system for Guam. My name is Ron McNinch, and I'm here as part of the Imagine Guam project, an initiative by Governor Eddie Calvo to help Guam to start thinking about the next 50 years. This project is done to maybe help the community to focus on the future and to look at what's beyond our horizon a little bit. In our last half hour, we talked about a number of items. We asked what our students on the panel liked about Guam and how they would possibly change Guam. We also asked how each district or north, middle, or south area of Guam can contribute to Guam's future. And then one of our final questions, we were talking about the interest of youth in agriculture and aquaculture. And so we have half of our panel we're going to continue with that question on. Basically, we're going to give each student about 15 seconds each on this side to talk about your interests in agriculture or aquaculture, or if you don't have any interest in it. Abigail?
I think the question is, why aren't kids our age more interested in studying, just in general? But I think, like on behalf of what Glenn said, it isn't the cool thing. That's a matter of perspective. Also, just me and myself, we have an agriculture class on island in our school, Sanchez, as I do not know if we have an aquaculture, but just in general, I just feel that students aren't enticed in it, and the teachers don't really present it as well as to where students would be interested into taking the class.
Very good. Noah?
Yeah, I think it's more of that cool thing because kids nowadays, their parents tell them, oh, you're going to be great, you're going to be someone, get good grades, go to a good college, you can be an engineer, a lawyer, something like that. And when someone talks to them about agriculture, the kid's just like, oh, you mean be a farmer, right? No, not a farmer, but you can learn how to use the resources on Guam. You can learn what these resources are, because agriculture and aquaculture can be really dangerous if you don't know what your resources are. Like, you could deplete the soil, or you could throw off food chains around the island on the coast.
Very good. Shelby?
Like all three of them said, kids nowadays aren't as interested because it's not the common thing to do. Kids nowadays stick to the status quo. They go with what the people around them want to do. And myself, I would be interested in agriculture, but the thing is, I don't know as much about it to be informed about everything about agriculture and aquaculture.
Very good. Tasi?
I think, yes, I would like more kids to learn about agriculture and aquaculture. I agree with everyone about saying that they don't really like to learn it, or maybe they don't even want to learn it, probably because it's not cool or it's boring. So to me, I think it's really good to learn something like this, because we live in an island and there are poisonous things on Guam, and learning about the sea animals and the plants, it's really good knowledge. It's good knowledge to keep when you're on Guam, especially when you're in the jungle. Sorry.
Okay. Jessica?
I think people, like kids our age, they don't acknowledge it because they don't really think it's important. But to me, I think it's important. And tonight, I just noticed that maybe I should take that next year, because maybe I want to be a farmer one day. Sounds fun. But yeah, kids nowadays, they don't really like it because they usually Google nowadays. So kids probably don't learn it, but they should.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, young people, for all your wonderful answers on that particular question. So we're back from the break, and we have another call-in question we'd like to get started on. The question is from Frankie Salas. He basically says that developing in the south of Guam will mean more jobs. And with that said, people are leaving our island for better jobs. What could we do to change that in particular? And let's start with Glenn.
Well, again, perspective. It's all in perspective. Are you doing it for the money? Or would you rather lose your roots and not your culture, but everything that, your ancestors walked on, your ancestors, they've done stuff there. There's a story there. There's a story behind what particular place down south. And I guess it's just all in perspective on whether or not, you want a job. Of course, it'd be good for the job. It'd be good for more jobs because, the rate would lower down. But again, would you rather have a higher rate of jobs or just like no place to say this is where history was made?
Okay. Emmy?
With that being said, it's down south and there are going to be job opportunities. There are a lot of people that are unemployed on our island, You guys see the GuamJobs.com that's always on TV. That's because everyone doesn't have jobs. But, but if people are leaving the island for a better job, it's a better job, But if people are going to be employed, it's always, they have a family to support too, So we have to think about that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Claire?
I agree. I feel like it all depends on the person and what they want to personally do. So if that's whether they want to go off island or stay here, it's all up to them. But yeah, I think I agree with them. It's a matter of perspective.
Very good. Dave?
Like they all said, it is a matter of perspective, but maybe we can find a way where we can incorporate more jobs and like a way for people to learn more about the culture and just portray it more and be proud of what our island and our roots.
Okay. Jada?
I agree with all of them. I mean, it really depends on what career you're trying to get into and if Guam offers that career or not. So it depends on really if that opportunity Guam offers it or if you have to resort to moving off island.
Very good. And we'll continue with Abigail.
If people, on behalf of what they said again, if it's a really matter of what people want to do for themselves. However, if you want better jobs than to work on island or to go abroad, go to school. Go to school, do work. There are a lot of people unemployed. However, you make that choice to do what you do on a daily basis. You make a name for yourself. You make who you are. Nobody will do it for you. Your parents won't do it for you. You are a projection of your parents. However, you can be so much more than they ever are and make them as prouder than you ever can imagine by being diligent, being determined, and being dedicated to pursue what you want to do. That's not hurting anybody else. That's not only benefiting yourself, but the people around you, the environment around you.
Very good. Noah?
I think this question is really about why don't we want to give back to Guam? Because if you're going abroad, or usually the case is you're going stateside because you're going to go to college and find a job out there. So the question is, how can we find a way to give back to Guam? Guam has a lot of cool things. I mean, we just have that new hospital up there in Dededo, right up past Micronesia Mall. I mean, be a doctor there. You don't need to go stateside to be a doctor. You can study at UOG. We have a great marine biology lab. I know that for sure. Although we don't have a lot of things, we can have a lot of things if there's a need for them. And there's not going to be a need for them unless people want to stay on island and give back to the island by wanting to have better jobs on island.
Shelby?
Like they said, development in the South would be a change. And the thing is, people nowadays talk about change. Oh, I want to change, but people don't like the effects that come with change. So if there were development in the South, that would bring more opportunities. And I guess in a way, it would promote people to stay on Guam. And like he said, it would make more people want to stay and give back to their island.
Good. Tassi?
I think on that side, yes, it's about perspective. you know, probably the reason why they go to the States is just for the money of the job. Maybe it's higher pay back there. But, you know, there's so many opportunities on Guam, especially for the South. You could be an entrepreneur and make a business down there. You could make a museum. You could try to just be more involved with the community. You know, it's not a high of a pay, but, you know, it's our culture. And down south, I don't think there should be more jobs, like more buildings of jobs, but just search and figure out who you want to be and where you want to be down there.
Very good. Josiah?
Well, I think everybody has different ideas and what they want to do, but yeah, down south, there's like not much down south to work for, but I think down south we really do need to work on like having more jobs down there if we want it to be more of tourism. So, but also people leave Guam because there's like better pay, but we need to think about the culture too. But at the same time, we need to think about how bad we're gonna affect the South if we do start like our own like shops and tourism down there.
Okay, very good, very good. I've got a couple of short questions for you. First, and from all 10 of you, you can just raise your hand. How many of you one day might think you'd like to be the governor or lieutenant governor of Guam? Raise your hand. Right. Oh,
Too much responsibility.
So there's nothing wrong with ambition, I have to say. It's a tough job. In general, let's do another show of hands. How many of you believe right now, in order to run for governor of Guam, you have to live on Guam for a minimum of 5 years? How many of you believe that if a person hasn't even lived here for 5 years, they should be able to run for governor of Guam? Any of you would like to comment on that? So do any of you, yes, go ahead, Tasi.
I think that depends on who that person is and if he has enough knowledge or if she has enough knowledge of how Guam is. Like, you're a governor because our people chose you to be governor. It's not your choice, or you don't have like your own say, like, I'm gonna be governor. We're gonna have to choose for you to be governor, and you have to have the knowledge and you have to have the humbleness of what we expect you to be as a governor, because you're our leader, you know. It can't just be anyone, you know, because that's like pretty intense to just trust so much in that one person. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Abigail, you had also wanted to maybe say a little something?
Okay. Well, just to enforce what she said, depending if, honestly, a person who has 2 years of knowledge about Guam can have so much more than someone who's lived here for 15 years and doesn't even know what the capital of Guam is. So it really matters on behalf of what she said, when you're chosen as a governor, there's so much respect that is given up to you. I guess that's why not a lot of us rose our hands, because we know that we need to work to get to that position, and being up there is not a joke. And we respect that, we understand that. And sorry, I kind of forgot the question a little bit. But just to enforce what you said, I agree 100% that it really matters on the person and what their true intentions are for the island. Because depending on where their intentions are, that's where we're going to put our trust in.
Okay, and Glenn, you had a response?
Yes, like both of them said, you know, it does depend on the person. She said, you could be here 20 years, your life, and, you know, you would still have to build up on all the knowledge and all the beliefs and all the customs. And, you know, of course, that's kind of important too, because, you know, you're running an island, so you have to have all that. And, of course, you can have the knowledge in the government and all that, but don't you think it's kind of nice to have someone who knows about their island, what they're running? So, again, it does depend on the person and where their intentions are again.
Very good answers. And Dave, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, like what they all said, like let's say someone wants to come from off island, they read everything, they learned every single thing about Guam, rather than someone who's lived on Guam, knows the culture and everything. Who would you pick? I would say I would go with the person who stayed on Guam and has a feeling and knows how the people are, and he's just been on island for people to respect him and whatnot.
Very nice answer, students. Students, I've known many governors of Guam in my 20 years here, and your answers were very fitting for this part of our conversation. So imagine you're governor of Guam, and in general, what would you think what do you think of the military buildup? Can you share with us each your general opinions of the military buildup, or the increase in military? And maybe we can start with, we'll start with Shelby.
I think the military buildup is a very touchy subject because there are two very different perspectives. Some are totally for it and some are totally against it because they feel that the military buildup might take away the culture on Guam, but then some people feel like the military buildup can promote Guam and make Guam better. And I myself am for it but also against it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say.
Good. Tassi?
I kind of agree with the military bill. You know, there's so many there's like opportunities there, and I know there's a lot of families on Guam that they're connected with the military. They have military parents, and you know, I think it's a good source of protection for them to be with us on Guam. I'd be against it only because maybe they only clean their land, right? It's so nice, so beautiful. And I hear some Chamorros out there, they're getting upset, like, you take away our land, you know? You took away the most beautiful part of our land. Why don't you give that back? You know, like something like that. And to me, I just think that it's a half and half. There's perspectives to it.
Okay, very good. Jessica?
I'm actually more of against it than with it because I think the military takes up a lot of our land. But at the same time, you know, the military needs a place to stay. But yeah, I'm more of against it.
Okay. Noah?
Well, there's so many sides to this question. I don't know if I'm going to try to, I don't know, analyze it or whatever.
Speak your feelings.
Well,
nothing wrong with your own opinion.
Tell us how you
here
feel.
In this group. Go ahead.
It's good to have protection of the U.S. I mean, we are a territory, so we're under them, I guess. Well, I don't mean like under them, but Guam is under the U.S., so yeah, I mean, that would be great, you know, having extra protection, you know, but do we need this extra protection? Are there terrorists knocking on our door? Are there pirates like off the coast of Malesu? Do we need this extra protection, and at what cost will this extra protection or extra whatever it may offer, at what cost will it affect us? You know.
Very good. Abigail?
On behalf of what he said, I guess based on the pros and cons, if I were to get statistics and know what the benefit is for our island, then I'd be for it. However, I'm not entirely sure why the military, I mean, like on what he said as well, we are a territory of the USA. However, yet we do not vote for who the president is in the USA. So that's contradicting. Also, I mean, if the people, I mean, with all due respect to the military, to all the guys that protect us, thank you guys so much. I mean, everyone here are heroes. And it really is based off our benefit and how effective it will be, the reason why they're going to come, and just basically statistics, what percentage would be better for us, and our safety. I mean, our safety is a priority for everybody. So I'm in the middle for that question. Thank you.
Very good. Jada?
I think that the military buildup does have its pros and cons, but with the recent incidents that have happened around the world, it is good to have the extra protection for Guam because you never know what can happen.
Very good. Dave?
Just like what everyone said, just going back into history, like when the Japanese came and they took over Guam, we were nowhere. Like, but then when the military came in, that's when we were able to force them out, and that's when they gave the Chamorros a chance to just rebuild on our island. And at the same time, they did take up most of the land up in the north, and they just isolated all the Chamorros from all the lands and all the burial sites and all the culture that's up there. So then I would say I'm kind of against it because they're just pushing it and taking too much of the land.
Okay. Claire?
I agree with Dave. I do think that I'm kind of against it because I do think that it takes up a lot of land. And another thing is that the people of Guam are considered U.S. citizens, and there's a lot of people who join the military from Guam, but then we don't exactly receive the same rights as people in America, such as voting for the president. So, yeah, I'm kind of against it.
Okay, Emmy?
I just want to share, Guam is a U.S. territory, but this past summer when I went off island, I met some people from Puerto Rico, or somewhere like that, and they're also a U.S. territory, and they said, do you like being a U.S. territory? I said, it's kind of good, they give us what we need, but then they're like, we don't like it, they ruin, our culture, our language, everything. I said, well, that's your opinion, everyone has their own opinions, everyone else has their own opinions, but it's just really controversial, I don't know what to say about it. But when someone comes knocking on my door, hey, gotta move, we're gonna build a base right here, no. Can't do that, it's different, so just based on your, how you feel and what you do, okay.
Very good. Glenn?
I don't really want to, I don't want to, but not really into, I'm not sure if I'm with it or against it because I don't really know the facts, and I'm sorry, but no, I'm not too sure what I want unless I can really get into it.
Sure. And that's a very informed approach, Glenn, I have to say. Sometimes when we don't know a lot of information yet, and we think about it, and we go one way or the other, we change our minds. Very, very neat. I have a really quick question. It'll be kind of like a yes-no question. There's a subject of renewable energy, which is like solar cells or wind power, wave power, but sometimes these systems are expensive. Are you willing to pay more to the Guam Power Authority for renewable energy? Let's just give us a yes or no. Let's start with Jada.
I'm not too sure how much more we would have to pay, so that would be a factor to think about. But if it's a renewable energy that can benefit our island, then I would say yes.
Okay. Dave, yes or no?
I would say yes, but like what Jada said, as long as it will be able to better our island.
Okay. And really, really, yes or no? Claire?
Yes.
Okay. Emmy?
Yes, but I'm not sure if my mom's down to pay a lot.
Okay. Glenn?
Yes, for beautiful Guam.
Okay. Abigail?
Yes, to save more money in the future.
Noah?
Yeah, it's great for the environment.
Shelby?
Yes.
Tassie?
Yes, if I have enough money to pay for it.
Jessica?
I would say yes.
Very good. I'll tell you, we're going to go into another break, and we'll be right back with our young people and talking about wonderful ideas for visioning Guam. We're here at the PBS studios here in Mangilao, and we're going to play some more videos really quickly, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much.
Over the next few years, the economy of Guam will grow more than it ever has. The visitor industry will nearly double in size, and our ports are being enhanced and modernized for greater capacity. The improvements to our power and water supply will bring lower utility costs. U.S. military expansion will bring construction projects and federal jobs long-term. During this period of growth, the government will continue to work with partners from the private sector to promote Guam's unique culture, protect the environment, and improve the quality of life for everyone.
Guam tourism is at the front edge of a paradigm shift. We're about to make the transition from the last 50 years, turn the corner, and propel ourselves forward to levels that we have never seen before. It is exactly the perfect time to invest in Guam and to be in Guam right now.
Whether it's setting benchmarks for a growing economy, where it's an economy that is homegrown, and whether it's institutionalizing best practices in financial management. That was what I would call success.
break a bones. We're in the car on a highway. It's a magical feeling that no one's got home. You're a catalyst to your happiness, you know. 'Cause it's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. It's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. In a whole wide world, it's Switzerland. In Switzerland. Hey ho, on the run again. Drive is strong. Onward. Sticking stones won't take its course. Got the power in the front seat. It's the best of worlds, feeling like nothing can go wrong. You're the center of the world, you get to know. 'Cause it's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. It's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. In a whole wide world, it's Switzerland. Hey ho, on the road again. On a highway, on a highway. Hey ho, on the road again. On a highway, on a highway. 'Cause it's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. It's your heart, it's alive, it's pumping blood. In a whole wide world, it's Switzerland. It's Switzerland. It's Switzerland. It's
We are on a roll with our capital improvement projects. Over the past couple of years, we have secured tens of millions of dollars in funds for our capital improvement projects, which include our expanded runway. We've also completed the installation of navigational aids to support both expanded runways. We brought a third fuel tank online, which increases our capacity to over 1 million gallons of jet fuel for our carriers. And soon we'll see a new state-of-the-art baggage handling system, which increases screening capacity and efficiency.
Many call it the Olympics of cultural events. Others have said it's the United Nations gathering of Pacific Islands. Some say it's the greatest assembly of culture, heritage, and the human spirit. The Festival of Pacific Arts has been bringing artists and cultural performers together from around the Pacific region since 1972. FestPac is the perpetuation of culture and traditions through the sharing and exchanging of practices and performances, from arts and crafts to dance and song to cuisine and dress. It's the celebration of what we all have in common and what makes us unique. Guam will be hosting the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts, bringing 27 Pacific Island nations together, placing our island at the center of this incredible event. Be a part of the largest cultural festival in Guam's history. Dinanya Sunidu Siha Gita Pacificu. Let's make history, let's tell our story.
Welcome back. We're here in the wonderful village of Mangilao at KGTF Studios, part of the public broadcasting system for Guam. We're here as part of the Imagine Guam visioning process from Governor Eddie Baza Calvo, and we're talking about all kinds of neat things related to Guam's future, and tonight's general topic is progress. In our last hour, we had all kinds of neat topics that we talked about, and we discussed all sorts of things related to governing, military buildup, and as well as just various aspects of our wonderful island of Guam. As a transition question for this next half hour, Guam is surrounded by water. We have ocean everywhere, and we have a wonderful marine life everywhere. And we have areas, restricted areas called marine preserves that keep people from fishing in those areas. So let's ask our students, what do you think of marine preserves or restricting fishing on our wonderful island? And let's discuss that, or your ideas about fishing in general and the ability for our residents and citizens here to fish. So let's start maybe with Jezekiah. Jezekiah, you can tell us some opinions on this.
My honest opinion would be no, I wouldn't want, because they wouldn't have made it a marine preserve if they didn't want people to go there and fish. So, yeah, no, because I love my fish, and when I go swimming, I want to see them.
Very good.
Thank you.
Tasi?
I would say no to this question because he's right about why would they name it a marine preserve if you're gonna go fish there. So, yes, I disagree with this. I disagree with people fishing in those areas.
Very good. Shelby?
I think that no also, because if people were to continue to fish in our marine preserves, there will eventually be nothing there, and that's the thing that we're trying to keep on our island. So I think no.
Okay, Noah?
No, I don't think so, because there are a lot of dangerous methods that people use to fish that are illegal, like when people use dynamite to fish. And these marine preserves are meant to have our fish populations grow so we can have fish in the future. Otherwise, if people keep fishing, then we're not gonna have fish in the future. And also, coral takes years to grow, and if people are fishing with dynamite or in illegal ways, they could destroy all this coral, and just bad things can happen.
Okay, Abigail?
Okay, what I think about fishing, I wish I knew how. But if I were to allow people to fish in marine preserves, if they're using the preserve for educational purposes, then I would say no. However, if there is an abundance of fish, like a plethora, and there's too many, then yes. So it really depends on the circumstance. So in the middle with that question as well.
Okay, on our other side, let's start with Glenn.
I say no because that's cheating. That's a lot of fish in one area. Why not just go to Umatic and catch Gado? It's cheating. No.
Okay. Emmy?
I say no to this question. I mean, it's a preserve. Why would you go there if it's a preserve? You're not supposed to fish there anyways. And I see those people, and I get sometimes going to the preserve to fish, and I want you to watch this. Don't fish there anymore.
Claire?
I would say no as well. I feel like it's good that we have designated areas meant for fishing and not to preserve the fish marine life.
Very good. Dave?
I would have to disagree because they made it a marine preserve for a reason, because the fishes they're going to be indigenous soon, and we would not want that to happen, especially on Guam, because it is an island, and most of our resources come from the ocean.
Okay, and Jada?
I agreed with everyone. There are certain areas where you can fish and areas where you cannot, and there's laws for a reason.
Okay. All right, let's do a quick show of hands on this particular question. You know, every year fishermen die because they're out on the reef and they don't have life jackets on. How many of you would support the idea of requiring fishermen to wear life jackets if they're fishing out on the reef? Any of you think that they should be required? Raise your hand. Any of you think that they should not be required? That fishermen should be free? Okay, there's something to that. I think that we can probably discuss that. I know quite often what happens is they don't wear their life jackets. All right, let's talk about Guam's population. We call the study of population demographics, and so basically Guam has a finite or limited amount of space. We have 212 square miles here. We have 160-odd thousand people living here. And so the question we have from our caller is, how will we fit more people living on Guam as our population grows? Are we going to have to build more vertically or make more high-rise buildings? How can we accommodate a larger population? And so let's talk about some views of that. And let's start with perhaps Claire.
This is a hard question. I mean, Guam is a really small island, but there's only so much it can take, you know? So, I don't know.
Okay. All right, Dave?
How will we fit more people living on Guam? I wouldn't say build vertically, but I have gone into the base up north, and there is a lot of land that is not being used up there. So that would be one way to fitting more people onto Guam.
Okay, Jada?
I think that, yeah, Guam is a small island, but there are a lot of abandoned buildings and homes that are on Guam that we could use, maybe break down those buildings and build new homes so that more people can fit, so there's not an overcrowding in certain parts of our island.
Okay, Abigail?
Okay, with this question, it's another one based off circumstance and statistics. Depending on how much money we have, if we have the money to build more, then that would be great. However, also based on the people who are coming, we need to think about what people we want to have on island, if they'd be beneficial or not. Really based on the circumstance on how we will fit more people. However, we do not want to overpopulate so much and then start to have to live with only 2 children per household.
Very good. Noah?
Well, the sad thing about this question is that population is going to grow. Population doesn't decline because, you know, medical advances and people aren't dying faster than they used to. So population is going to grow. So how do we deal with this? I don't think we want to build vertically. I mean, we have such great views. At St. John's, we have a view of Tumon Bay, but a new hotel just went up, and now like 1/3 of that view is just blocked out forever. So I don't think building vertically is a solution. It's going to be really hard to find space on our island to fit all these new people.
Okay, Shelby?
Like most of them said, as of now, there is no answer to what we could do because he's right. We can't just rely on building vertically, and the population would change so many other things on Guam. That means more cars on the road, a need for more jobs. So it's a topic that needs to broadly be discussed.
Okay, Tassi?
That's a hard one. I don't know what to say about this one because they're all right about how the population is going to grow. And I agree with Claire. I don't know how to answer this question. Is very hard.
Okay. Jessica?
Well, Dave's answer is like really running through my head, how the military have so much land and they're not using it. So like I believe because we have such beautiful jungles, and I don't think we should break down our jungles just to build vertically buildings. So yeah, I believe Dave's right. We should use more of like the military's land because like, you know, we need it too.
Okay, and on the other side, Glenn?
Like how they said, we have a lot of land, right, that's not being used. Going through Airport Road, you have all these abandoned houses. Why can't we fix it up and make new housing? Or when the population does, you know, it reaches a certain extent to where they see it rising, why can't we build that and rebuild so we can actually house people there?
Okay, and Emmy?
There's like barely any people on Guam right now. I mean, there's a lot, but like it's a small island, so everyone knows each other. But like, where are these people coming from? Do we actually need them here? I mean, are they like from somewhere else and they're just gonna put them here? Like, I don't know. That's something someone else needs to discuss because it's a hard question.
Okay, very, very good and thoughtful answers, students. Okay, let's move on to another general question. Let me just ask all of you, raise your hands again. How many of you drive here? Okay, most of you, and pretty much in the next couple of years, most of you will start learning to drive too. But all of you drive around traffic, no question. And so let's ask a couple of questions here about traffic and air pollution. So what are your opinions about maybe either or, traffic or air pollution, if you have some ideas on that? And let's start over in the middle on this side with Shelby.
I don't personally, by experiencing traffic in other places of the world, I don't think we have it that bad on Guam. And the way we have it now is doable. It's people are able to deal with it. And with air pollution, I think eventually we're gonna have to do something about the pollution because it's only increasing. And I think it starts with us. I mean, what are we gonna do to try and prevent this from happening to our world? So it starts with us trying to preserve the green life that we have on the island.
Very good. Noah?
I think a lot of traffic, it can get really bad. Like, I'm always late to school. I mean, I live in Jonya and I go to St. John's. So sometimes it gets crazy, but I know I should wake up earlier. But sleep's important. Scientists will testify. Traffic can get really, really bad sometimes. And I don't know if we want to build highways. Do we want to do that to Guam? Do we want to do that to the environment? And I think air pollution is something that happens over time and people don't really realize it. So we should really think about how our power plants are operating right now. Like PD plant 24/7, I don't know. Actually, every time I see it, it's just spewing smog. We can have solar panels. I mean, that's such a great amount of potential energy that we can produce because there's just, you got sun everywhere. There's no place on Earth that doesn't have sun, so you can just put it wherever you want, you know. But that is a lot of land. I don't know. There's pros and cons. Sorry for the long answer.
Abigail?
What are my thoughts on traffic? Like what Shelby said, we don't have it as bad. However, bikes are cool too, but you don't see a lot of that either. We don't even have a little bike trail on island. My thoughts on air pollution, it's inevitable. Oh, traffic is inevitable, but we don't have it bad. Air pollution is inevitable and it is getting worse. It does start with us, but before we start thinking about the whole world, I think it starts with our island. It begins with us, not just factories, but people who use tobacco. Oh, I said it, I'm sorry, but people who smoke. It's your choice though, man. It's not a great choice, but it's your choice to do what you want with life that makes you happy. However, I care about you, I care about your health, and I have family members who do it too. My dad was once a smoker, but when he had kids, he made the choice to change for us. So it's really based on how you handle that situation, but really it begins with us, it begins with you, it begins with the generation. As I would say to my peers, wake up to inspire others, wake up and be a blessing to others, be better than who your parents were, be better than who you think you are, because you have so much more potential than that, not just being a cliche saying, but really there's so much you can do if you really do work and work diligently.
Very good. Jada?
Okay, I do drive, and traffic is bad, let's say in the morning on my way to school. I live in Sanahanya, and I do go to St. Paul, which is all the way up in Dedito. Traffic coming home around like 5:30 is bad, but I have lived in the States, and traffic there is much worse. So I don't think we have it as bad. Air pollution, it is a concern that we should start being more aware of, because that does affect our environment.
Very good. Dave?
With traffic, I would say our traffic on Guam is pretty bad, but it's usually during the morning rush when people are trying to get to work and when people are getting off. But one thing we can do is not try and add highways and whatnot, is probably just fix the bumps on the roads. That would probably be a big help. And as of air pollution, like what they said, it is inevitable. And what Noah was talking about, like other ways of getting energy, like solar panels, instead of factories that shoot up smoke all the time. We can also do hydroelectric. There's a vast options of other ways to get energy.
Very good. Claire?
I mean, we all need cars to, for transportation to get places where we need to go. But in terms of air pollution, if any way we could, simple things like riding your bike or walking, that could help a lot. I mean, there's bike lanes in Tumon that you could go down, and in any way that we could help the environment, we should do it.
Very good. Emmy?
Talking about traffic, sometimes it's kind of bad. Okay, yeah, it's bad. It's like starting at 3, Yeah, it's really bad starting at 3. But I've been to other places and it's like worse. And air pollution in other places are like way worse than what we have here. But you can like ride with someone to school. You can like share a car. You can carpool, not only like bikes or whatever. But you can like ask your friends to ride their car. Even if they don't want to, I'm pretty sure if you keep asking, they'll take you.
Glenn?
I don't know about cars because all I have is my Carabao card and my Carabao Tonat. So, but with the traffic, I think traffic's gonna be everywhere. Wherever there's cars, there's always gonna be traffic. But thinking green, what if we were the first island to turn green, right? Like get rid of all this power plants, gasoline cars. How about battery cars and solar? We have the wind, we have water. Let's turn our resources into something we can power our island from.
Oh, okay, very good. Jessica?
Well, traffic-wise, Guam is small, so I believe, cars are like not that much of a problem, and carpool is a good idea too. Air pollution, yeah, to those smokers, I think we need to quit because we need to save more of the air and and plus, save money. Cigarette is like $5, $6, $7. That's like, whoa. That's like people people I know can finish a pack in a day. So like, yeah, the $5-7 every day. That's like, I can buy food with that. So yeah, my honest opinion, yeah, cars and air pollution. That's my thoughts.
Okay, Tasi?
Well, I think traffic is going to be everywhere. So, yeah, traffic is bad on Guam, especially in the morning and 5 o'clock. That's when it's really bad. But going back to air pollution, it does start with us, She's right. Everyone's right about that smoking, about tobacco. I think, be healthier. I do care about you guys' health, but I think it'll be healthier if we just cut down a little bit because, we could save money and my dad's a smoker, so it really hurts to say this to him. Sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, but yeah, it does start with us. It starts with our generation right here, so I think we should be more green.
Very good. Very nice answers, students. Let's transition to our next question. There's an old saying, those who can do and those who can't teach. Well, there's a third part of it, and that is those who can't teach administrate. And so, they become school principals. I'm just taking a swipe at it, school administrator, because I'm a teacher, actually. So let's talk about teaching and learning for a second. What is the best way for young people to learn to become environmentally conscious? What's the best way to become more conscious in general, do you think? And let's start with Jessica.
I think that, my teachers especially always teach me to, be more environmentally conscientious, but yeah, I kind of don't listen because I'm really a busy person too. Sometimes I forget to turn off the light in my bedroom, so my mom turns it off when she wakes up, so yeah, I need to be more environmentally conscientious.
Okay, Tasi?
I think a better way for kids our age to really take this seriously is if you get in trouble by your mom and she just yells at you one morning about turning off the light. That's one way someone would learn about being environmentally, what is the word? Environmentally
conscious or
conscious,
thoughtful?
Yeah, conscious or thoughtful. So I think one step is getting in trouble, and then when you feel that rush from your mom or your dad, then you're like, oh, better turn off that light right now.
Wow, our parents are some of our best teachers, no question. Shelby?
I know that my teachers always encourage us to not only be the best students, but also to be the best people. So they can encourage us to be environmentally friendly, but it really all comes down to us. It's up to us to take that initiative to go and do something to try and better the world. So I think it really starts with ourselves.
Okay, Noah?
This is kind of a bad question for me. I just dropped out of environmental science, sorry. But my teachers do teach me, all the time. They say, actually, I don't know what they say, but I know we really like to make this a really current topic, environmental consciousness. So it's really present. Our teachers are doing a good job at teaching us and our parents too. So it's there.
Wow. Okay, Abigail?
We could have teachers teach us, but however, like what Shelby said, it really begins with us. I think the morals that are embedded in us from the womb, that our parents teach us, really makes our conscience and what we choose to do. Because we could have the class, but care not of what the world is, if it's crumbling down and burning in flames in front of us. So it's really based off of what we choose to do. Because we can be told as many times as we want, but if we don't want to do anything, then it's our choice, your choice. It really begins with us and the actions we make.
Very good. Jada?
I agree with what Abigail said. It does start with ourselves and at home. My mom does repeatedly tell me to make sure I turn off all the lights and I conserve with water and power, and not only to clean up after myself, but others if they don't too. So it really starts with yourself and the kind of mindset you have.
Very good. Dave?
I do agree with them because my mom too gets on my case about turning off the lights, wasting water and whatnot. So I guess it would be better if everyone was to be more environmentally cautious, and it would be very excellent if our teachers were to enforce us and just like embed it in us.
Very good. Claire?
My teachers teach me to be a catalyst for change and to be more resourceful, and they do promote doing hands-on activities, and I feel like that's a great way to kind of encourage other students to become more interested in the environment.
Very nice. Emmy?
This is kind of a funny question because last night my mom just got mad at me because she literally toughened me because the dryer was running all night, and she woke me up. She's like, the dryer's still on. But I think, what Tati was saying, maybe my mom just needs to always yell at me so I can be more environmentally conscious.
Glenn?
I think we can be we could be really conscious of the environment if we participated and we put some time into bettering the island. And like I said, keeping it green, I think that'd be a really, really good thing, especially for the image of our island. Wow, that's a green island, literally. So I think that'd be a good thing to participate.
Very nice. Thank you so much, students. And we have a third break coming up. We're going to watch a wonderful set of videos, and we'll come right back, and we're going to take a very brief video break right now. Thank you very much.
Over the next few years, the economy of Guam will grow more than it ever has. The visitor industry will nearly double in size, and our ports are being enhanced and modernized for greater capacity. The improvements to our power and water supply will bring lower utility costs. U.S. military expansion will bring construction projects and federal jobs long-term. During this period of growth, the government will continue to work with partners from the private sector to promote Guam's unique culture, protect the environment, and improve the quality of life for everyone.
Guam tourism is at the front edge of a paradigm shift. We're about to make the transition from the last 50 years, turn the corner, and propel ourselves forward to levels that we have never seen before. It is exactly the perfect time to invest in Guam and to be in Guam right now.
Whether it's setting benchmarks for a growing economy, where it's an economy that is homegrown, and whether it's institutionalizing best practices in financial management. That was what I would call success.
We are on a roll with our capital improvement projects. Over the past couple of years, we have secured tens of millions of dollars in funds for our capital improvement projects, which include our expanded runway. We've also completed the installation of navigational aids to support both expanded runways. We brought a third fuel tank online, which increases our capacity to over 1 million gallons of jet fuel for our carriers. And soon we'll see a new state-of-the-art baggage handling system, which increases screening capacity and efficiency.
Many call it the Olympics of cultural events. Others have said it's the United Nations gathering of Pacific Islands. Some say it's the greatest assembly of culture, heritage, and the human spirit. The Festival of Pacific Arts has been bringing artists and cultural performers together from around the Pacific region since 1972. FestPac is the perpetuation of culture and traditions through the sharing and exchanging of practices and performances, from arts and crafts to dance and song to cuisine and dress. It's the celebration of what we all have in common and what makes us unique. Guam will be hosting the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts, bringing 27 Pacific Island nations together, placing our island at the center of this incredible event. Be a part of the largest cultural festival in Guam's history. Dinanyas Unidos Siha Gita Pacifico. Let's make history, let's tell our story.
Welcome back. We're here in the beautiful village of Mangilao at KGTF Studios, part of the public broadcasting system for Guam. My name is Ron McNinch. Tonight we're discussing the Imagine Guam project sponsored by Governor Eddie Baza Calvo's office, and we'd like to thank the governor for allowing us to have this wonderful conversation with our young people tonight. We've talked about quite a number of issues and topics, and we're going to continue the conversation for the next half hour as we're concluding the things we're talking about. We're talking about a vision for Guam's future, what Guam's going to look like 50 years from now. And so we're sharing our views. This is an open forum among these students, and they're expressing their individual feelings and perspectives. But to start off this half hour, we're going to give each student 10 to 15 seconds to give a shout out to anybody they want. We'll start with Glenn down here.
Shout out to the village of Zotnya. Shout out to the Gumas. Shout out to Guma Rasanatalati. Shout out to my mom. Shout outs to the fam. Shout outs to my Fafanagi BJ Terlai. Shout outs to the nursing class of 2017. Shout outs to GCC Cross Enrollment GW. Shout outs to the rugby team. Shout out.
All right, very nice. Actually, let's give him a hand on that. You have a lot of friends, Glenn. That's incredible. Okay, Emmy?
Shout out to Inanagaf Pagu. Shout out to Southern High School, Miss Meeks, Vince Regis, my mom, our senior class council, because they're like watching. Everyone's watching. So shout out to you guys.
Very good. Claire?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to my extremely proud mother right now who's watching me. So.
Oh, very nice. Dave?
Shout out to my mom, my dad, my brothers, sisters, my grandpa, my grandma, and to all my teachers.
Very good. Jada?
Shout out to my school, to my basketball team. Shout out to my principal who brought me here. Shout out to my mom and dad and sister who are watching at home.
Very good. Abigail?
Shout out to my admin, especially Mrs. Behering. Shout out to my sis, what's up, homegirl? Shout out to NTHS, NHS, all my teachers, nursing. Thank you guys so much for your support again for our 5K sponsors. Really appreciate you guys.
Very good. Noah?
Shout out to my class, anyone watching. Shout out to my principal who suggested me to be on this. Shout out to my parents who are watching right now, and I know my mom made home safe. And mom and dad, I didn't feed the dogs, so can you do that, please?
Shelby?
Shout out to my parents, shout out to my sister, shout out to my grandparents who are all watching right now. I love you guys. Shout out to my school, shout out to my basketball team, shout out to my ASB officers, and shout out to the class of 2016.
Very nice. Tassi?
Shout out to my mom, shout out to the fam, shout out to Auntie Saina Eileen. I'm so sorry, I'm coming late to practice. Shout out to Dr. Damas, my principal. Shout out to Senor Terlahi. Shout out to all the Guma. Shout out to Rosana Cholati. Shout out to FestPac.
Oh, very good. Jessica?
I like to make a shout out to my mom, my family, my school, my friends in A-Wing, the EK boys, Nikumach girls. Yeah, you guys rock. Love you guys, A-Wing, all the way.
Very good. Very, very nice. At this point, we're going to continue our conversation with our high school students. We're going to talk about a few more questions in general. We have an interesting question, and the question is really a question about how willing are we to give people second chances. And so the question is, if you owned a business and were hiring, and the most qualified person for the job happened to be someone who'd spent time in jail, would you hire that person? So let's start with Abigail.
Yes. I believe that the most ignorant, have a story, and also the most educated can sometimes be the most lazy, and the most helpful is the most uneducated. If it's a murderer that came out of jail that's the most qualified, has more skills than you, yes. If I end up dying in that faith, then it was my faith from God, and that's my will, and I'll accept that.
Okay, Noah?
As much as I'd want to, as much as this person would be an asset to whatever business I have, she poses a threat to the rest of my employees or customers or, our accounts or people. So it's really dangerous. It would depend on the person and my first impression, I think, my gut feeling.
Okay, Shelby?
I would have to look at the person as a whole, because I truly believe that a person's past should not necessarily define the person they are today. And like they said earlier, everybody deserves a second chance. So if that person changed and they are the most qualified for the job, I would gladly hire them.
Okay, Tasi?
Yes, I would hire that type of employee. I truly believe that everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone has their own heart. Even though they did that back in the past, that doesn't define them as who they are right now. So yes, I'd hire them.
Okay. Jessica?
I actually am straight down the middle of this, I believe that, people can change, but yet I also believe if you did it, you can do it again. So I really don't know. But yeah, I would have to go with my gut feeling.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jada?
I would say yes, because I think a person is not defined by their past and what they have done. Really, it's the person or how the person is now. And if they learn from their lessons and if they're willing to prove to you that they can get the job done.
Okay, Dave?
On behalf of everyone who agreed, I would most definitely hire that person, because like what they said, it's not about what they've done, it's about who they are now. And you never know the reason why they did it. And yes, they may have a chance of doing it again, but you have to sometimes give people the benefit of the doubt, because you never know, that person can make your company or it can also break it.
Okay. Claire?
I'm pretty ambivalent about this, because I do believe that people deserve second chances, but at the same time, they should be aware of what went on, so they should, kind of be conscious about it.
Okay, Emmy?
I'm kind of like iffy. I mean, if the person went to jail for like stealing and like for a long time, I mean, no one's gonna get in the way of me making my money and having a business. So if they ruined it, they'd be fired. But I think I would hire them because they have to make a living too.
Okay, Glenn?
I think I would hire them because, like they said, everyone deserves a second chance, and you never know what the outcome could be. So why not? And what would Jesus do? He would. I know it's a cliche, corny saying, but it's true. He always gives second chances, and it is a good thing. Like they said, that person can make it or break your company. So it's all about. Yeah, why not? Everyone deserves a second chance.
Okay. Thank you very much, students, for your very thoughtful answers. All right, let's move on to our next question. We're surrounded by media. We're surrounded by television and radio and certainly newspapers. Do you think the media is doing enough to educate our community, or do you think that they're too focused on the things like the most breaking stories or bad news or kind of stories that don't really matter? So what do you think about the media? And while you're at it, what is your favorite kind of media? Is it TV, radio, or news? That's the first part, and then what do you think of the media? Okay, let's start with Jada this time.
I would say TV would be my favorite kind of news. I think majority of the media does focus on the negative or the bad, and because that's what attracts a lot of people. It gets people's attention. But if we use media in a positive way, who's to say the outcome can't be the same? So it really depends on first the media and the people watching and reading the media.
Okay, Dave?
My favorite kind of social media, it would be television as well. And I do believe that these companies or shows, they do portray more of the negative things because they believe that it will bring more viewers and more money. But then at the same time, they don't focus on the good as much as they do on the bad.
Okay, Claire?
I do enjoy the news on TV or like the CNN Snapchats. I watch those all the time. But I do think, I agree with these two. I do believe that they focus more on the negative, but I think they should find a balance between the two because people are interested in both, I think.
Okay, Emmy?
I think mine would be TV, even though I don't really watch TV. I'm mostly on my phone, and I get the PDN text messages, like when the road is blocked or whatever. But, yeah, I think they focus more on the bad. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, Glenn?
I like newspapers because when I'm sitting on the porcelain throne, I'm kept busy. So I think that they do focus more on the bad than they do the good. Like we have more, usually in the front pages, murder suspect, rape suspect. We should have cultural exchange, we should have all this stuff to really educate the community. Yes, we're educating the community on criminals and, not to sound rude, but, it is, if you think about it, it is really more of the criminal aspect. I feel like we should put more of our culture and how, what's really going on in the infrastructure of Guam. Yes, we have, like I said, we do have those articles, but we barely, it's barely. You see more of the bad.
Okay, Abigail?
I'm in between TV and radio. I like listening to people talk. I imagine what they're doing in the background. Super cool. But I feel that it's human nature that people focus on the negative. Everybody likes drama, which is disappointing and sad. Everybody likes to mind other people's businesses, and the media doesn't educate much of us to be positive. However, there's a lot of morbid things on the internet. It's inevitable. Based on a teenage perspective, I don't have Twitter. I don't twit. Is that what it's called? I don't want IG. I mean, I IG, but I don't have the other mainstream social media stuff. But I know that it takes a negative or positive outcome depending on who the person is and how they take it as a person. However, there are things online that are not for the faint-hearted. However, people learn to, I guess, not hold in what they say, but keep encouraging others and stop, because cyberbullying is a big thing. But yes, I feel that the media does portray a lot of negative, and it's sad and disappointing, and people need to learn how to live more positive lives and do work and be successful for themselves and worry about what they have to do, what their future is.
Okay, Noah?
I really don't like TV. I think it's really dangerous. Like the way they can portray people. I mean, they portray terrorists as terrorists. They say these guys are causing terror everywhere. They're terrorists. Or, I mean, they have the power to say, look at these heroes who are martyrs for their country. They can say that and they can make everyone believe that these terrorists are good people. I mean, back in, the mid-20th century, this is a long time ago, sorry, there was the first televised debate between JFK and Nixon, and my teachers tell me this all the time. They're like, wow, it really changed JFK's polls. JFK's polls were lower than Nixon's polls at the time, but after the televised debate, JFK's polls were like way higher. And a lot of historians say that the reason was because when people saw JFK on TV, he was this young guy, however handsome he was just a young guy, and they looked at Nixon and he was like a droopy old man. You don't want a baggy old man as president. I mean, TV has the power to like do so many things and change our perspective. So the media has the responsibility to tell us the facts and not skew it in any way. So in a perfect world, we would get just the facts. Not a perfect world. Sorry.
Okay. Shelby?
I myself prefer the newspaper because, I mean, if I were watching television at home and I looked away and I was like, oh man, I missed something, at least with a newspaper, I can go back and read it like, oh, that's what it was, right? So, yeah, I would prefer the newspaper. And I think it is true that the media looks more on the bad than the good, but because that's what interests people, that's what people look for. They look for what happened, like what was this accident that happened. They aren't as interested in the good things that happen. And I think that's bad. I mean, we should always look at the positive more than we look at the negative.
Very good. Tassi?
I agree with Glenn and Abigail and Noah. I agree with Noah. I agree with those three people. They're right about TV and how they can manipulate things and stuff. But yeah, I think that they really focus on the bad, a lot of the bad. If it was my choice, I'd probably pick radio. I like TV, but when he said about that example, made me change my mind. So yeah, I'd pick radio.
Okay, very good. Jessica?
Okay, so me is like more of whatever's in the fastest reach. So if the remote's in front of me, yeah, like the radio's right there, yeah. Or the newspaper, yeah. But, I think the media, yeah, I always, like, when I watch TV, when I watch the news, it's like they say the bad things and then they say the good things and, like, the activities and the community things. And then the newspaper, the same thing. It's always the bad first and then the school, like the sports and everything in the end. Like, all the fun things are in the end. And... well, my phone, I like to go check the news on my phone because when I go on PDN, everything's random on the news feed, so I always see fun things on the news feed. And, yeah. Radio, I barely listen to the radio. Only when I'm in my car because my car don't got Bluetooth.
Okay,
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Well, thank you, students. So I think we're almost getting to the point where we're almost wrapped up tonight. And so we have a very nice, important question from Governor Calvo. And Governor Calvo's question is, climate change may bring refugees from Micronesia to Guam. Would you welcome a family of climate refugees from the FSM or the Marshall Islands into your home? And I'll give each of you about 10 to 20 seconds to answer, a little short answer on this, and we'll start with Glenn at the end.
Can I just ask, what does he mean? I'm sorry, can you just break it down a little more?
Well, as the ocean level rises, people are going to lose their homes and they're going to come to Guam.
Oh, okay. Of course I would welcome a family of refugees. Everyone's welcome, right, to our island, right? We're very hospitable people. So I don't think it would be a question of they're welcome or not. They're welcome. You're always welcome.
Okay, Emmy?
You're from Micronesia, I'm from Micronesia. You can come to Micronesian Island. But, where are you going to stay? In my house? Because I've had people stay at my house before. It wasn't a good experience. But you're welcome to come to Guam. We are loving people.
Okay. Claire?
I would definitely be open to having people come into my home, if my parents allow it, of course. But, I mean, like, these environmental, these things that are happening to the people, like the people on the Marshall Islands with the sea levels and stuff, I would definitely be open to inviting someone into my home.
Dave?
I would most definitely, because there are always people out there who's going to have it worse, and then by that one small act of kindness, it would be just a chain effect, and everyone will start doing it.
Okay, Jada?
I think I would, because you bringing a family into your home can help them get back on their feet.
Okay, and from our right-hand side, just a simple yes or no, maybe a sentence. So we'll start with Abigail.
Maybe depending on the circumstance and people. I'm not trying to I'm sorry, I'm saying it long, but it's very difficult to answer that question because there's a lot of circumstances and different individuals that you're going to come across from. And I'm really thinking with money, food, where they're going to stay, and, my parents' income, because, we're trying to get on our feet as well. We're not, so it really depends.
Okay.
Maybe.
Thank you very much. And this is a yes or no with a 10-word sentence. Noah?
Yes, we're all the same, but you got to keep in mind our circumstances too.
Shelby?
Like they said, I would say yes too, because I would want someone to do the same for my family if it were me.
Yes, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Jessica?
I would say yes, but please don't just come to my island and damage it. And yeah, please.
Okay.
No,
Well,
that's all I
very
gotta
good.
say.
Students, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Very thoughtful answers. Great discussion. And thank you, viewing audience, for being with us tonight. And thank you, PBS Guam. And thank you, Governor Eddie Baza-Calvo, and your wonderful employees at your office and your wonderful staff, Oyo and Troy and Phil. We're going to have another forum tomorrow night on the issue of family. Dr. John Rivera is going to be here, and we're going to be right back tomorrow night, same time. Thank you very much from our wonderful KGTF studios here, right here in the village of Mangilao.
Good job, guys.